In March of 2020, even the largest cities throughout the United States had empty streets. And in 2 months, the complete fiber of our world changed at a rate that no one could have ever imagined. Streets were barren and schools were closed, leaving communities draped in an unfamiliar status due to COVID-19. In no time, this novel coronavirus had moved into all corners of the world, affecting many people. Businesses were closed, public travel ceased, and the sounds of laughter were no longer heard in public parks. Heading through each stage of this pandemic, our public experience changed, as did our wardrobe, and at times, it felt like our world was temporarily closed. In this program, Youth and the Coronavirus Getting the Point Across, we give voice to our youth, allowing them to ask their questions and address their thoughts about our current state of affairs. We hope the voice of a few will address the concerns of many. We encourage you to watch this program with the youth in your life.
Para las familias con niños pequeños que solo hablan español, por favor tome tiempo para discutir este programa con ellos también.
My name is Declan. I'm 5 years old, and my question is, why can't I play with my friends if I'm not sick?
The reason why it's probably best not to play with your friends right now, or if you see them, to have social distancing and wear a mask, is that you don't know if your friends may have been inadvertently infected or not. So it's really for everyone's protection until we have widespread testing and other measures in place.
Hi, I am Logan and I am 10 and are pets affected by COVID-19.
Are pets affected by COVID-19? Let's remember first, it looks like this particular virus, COVID-19, is coming actually from animals. And we believe that it's coming from the bat. However, it somehow mutated, again, the interesting term, and moved into humans. Now, as itself, COVID-19 without mutating, can it infect animals? And the answer is there is no direct evidence of transmission between humans and animals as of now by the CDC and the American Veterinary Association. However, particularly in dogs. However, there has been recent studies, and you probably have seen in the news, that cats might get affected. There is a tiger in the Bronx Zoo in New York that everybody believes that he got infected with COVID. And there are some studies that are showing that cats can suffer the disease and have some lung disease actually that they reported in literature very recently, cats and ferrets. So it's a complicated question. First level is it comes from animals. Second is there's no evidence that there's any transmission to dogs. The next level is there is a possibility that cats might be affected. However, there is no enough evidence. And the next level of answer in this question is the pets can not be affected, but the coat could be contaminated. So if the coat's contaminated, then they could carry the disease actually. So let me give you an example. If you are walking around and you get the disease and you pet your dog, and dog goes wagging its tail to grandma, and grandma pets the same dog, then probably grandma could get contaminated, not because of the dog, but because of the coat, especially if you were contaminated. It's an example.
My name is Wyatt, and I'm 9, and this is my question. Will kids be able to go to camp this summer?
Well, that's a good question on summer camps. We're waiting to get more information from the governor if we can do summer camps. Right now, there's a 5-phase stages put in place. If we get to the stage of, I believe it's 3, where it's allowed groups of 10 or less, summer camps we're hopeful will be fit into that group. We have made a variety of contingency plans if that is allowed, whether it's groups of 10 or 50 or summer camps are able to go in general. So we have a variety of scenarios that we have in place. We're waiting to get the information from the governor so we can take action. As soon as we get word of that, we plan on putting out an announcement for our registration and having that the public be able to sign up for camps right away. Maybe it might be say 2-week turnaround time from his announcement. Usually whenever he makes an announcement, there's a week or two before it actually comes to fruition on the date. So that's what we're looking at right now. I could very easily see scenario of where camps are 10 children or less, and we can accommodate that. We have a variety of parks and facilities. So instead of having our main 2 hubs for camps here in Waukegan, our Bowen Park and Rose Park used to be known as Belvedere Park. It's called Corinne J. Rose Park now. So those 2 sites definitely have camps. We have facilities at Bevere, our field house, another facility at Bowen Park. So we have plans in place to try to offer summer camp, even if the numbers have to be lower than normal. We really hope that camps can run this summer. You know, what we do best in park districts is offering programs for families from, you know, youth through seniors, but I know summer camps are a great way for kids to spend time, and they're often very memorable experiences for them. And on top of that, it's a way for parents to work and have their children go somewhere during the daytime. And obviously, I'm sure everybody's got a little cabin fever since they've been sitting around since March. So our camps are ready to go when we get the green light, and we sure hope we do.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm 14 years old. If I live with a health professional, will I have to take extra precautions when the stay-at-home order is over?
So if you do live with a health professional, the extra precautions are really making sure that that person is virus-free. So that means that person's either been tested serially or they've taken actual precautions such as self-quarantine, etc., given the highly contagious manner in which this virus is transmitted.
Hi, I'm Tyson. I'm 16. I applied as a lifeguard to my park district. How is it affected due to COVID-19?
Great question. First, I applaud you for seeking employment with your local park district. Park districts are one of the biggest employers of youth, especially seasonal work like summer jobs. And out of the 67,000 jobs that park districts provide statewide, roughly half of these jobs have provided important work experiences for teens and young adults. The COVID-19 pandemic may affect your summer job because some local park districts have decided to close their pools to follow best practices with regard to the reopening of their facility. You should check if your local park district has made the decision to close its pool this summer. If this is the case, you may want to inquire if there is an opportunity for you to provide private one-on-one swim lesson at their fitness center or their community center pool in lieu of your lifeguard assignment. Best of luck securing a summer job.
My name's Caitlin. I'm 15 years old. How long does the coronavirus stay on surfaces?
So how long does coronavirus live on a surface? Coronavirus can live on different surfaces for different time periods, and it depends on what type of surface it is as to how long the coronavirus can live there. So if we think about what's in your house, we could look at something like a plastic water bottle. And coronavirus can live on plastic water bottles for about 2 days. But they can only live on something like a copper penny for about 4 hours. And everywhere in between. So coronavirus can live on your stove for 24 hours. And it's the same thing with a cardboard shoebox. It can live on there for about a day. That's why we recommend that surfaces are cleaned before and after every use, and why it's imperative and really important that everyone washes their hands frequently after touching surfaces so that we can make sure to keep the spread of the coronavirus down.
What is a coronavirus? The coronavirus is a virus like the one that causes you to get the flu, but more dangerous. Coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that can infect and spread between people. There are many different kinds, and some cause disease. The newly identified coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, has caused a worldwide pandemic of respiratory illness called COVID-19. What is COVID-19? COVID-19, a coronavirus disease discovered in 2019, is a virus that causes a high fever, exhaustion, and difficulty breathing. Symptoms also include coughing, sore throat, and a loss of taste or smell. Those with COVID-19 should be tested and treated by a doctor.
Hi, I'm Brianna. I'm 11, and I was wondering if there is not a cure for coronavirus.
Will we get to go to school or play with our friends outside?
Part of this is with any infectious disease, you want to make sure that if there's not a cure, certainly be able to prevent it and really try and make sure that if anything, the illness is more common to the common cold than something that's more life-threatening. And so it's going to be important that there are precautionary measures to prevent the spread of this virus. And that's really what the Centers of Disease Control is working on right now, as well as the State of Illinois Department of Public Health, as well as the Lake County Department of Public Health, to try and make sure that we're, meaning everyone who lives in the county, is well protected from the ravages or potential ravages of this virus.
I am Michael. I'm 11 years old, and my question is, why is COVID-19 so dangerous?
It's dangerous because compared to its cousins within the common cold family, which is the same family, the coronavirus, COVID-19, is more virulent. This means that it causes the disease more aggressively, number one. And second, it has a higher contagion, which means can be transmitted between humans much more easily than the common cold. So that makes it a bit more dangerous because you're combining a couple of situations that are very unique in the family of the cold viruses. They're easily transmittable, and then the infection can be more aggressive. Therefore, it makes it more dangerous. It travels obviously faster because it infects a lot of people. It moves very fast. And then some of these people can get very sick. Then it makes it a bit more dangerous. As a novel virus, COVID-19. As a family, coronaviruses are not that dangerous except for few of them that we know they're extremely dangerous for humans.
Hi, I'm Bella. I'm 15, and my question is COVID-19 affecting younger people?
Yes, it is. COVID is affecting younger people, not to the extent that's it affecting older individuals, but certainly younger individuals, particularly if they are immunocompromised, are at risk as well. It appears, though, that it's really much older individuals who have underlying diseases such as diabetes, heart, lung disease, are certainly at much higher risk.
Hi, my name is Zoe. I'm 19 and I'm going to be a sophomore in college in the fall. I was just wondering, coming away from social distancing, what life is going to be like on campus.
Our school is working diligently to prepare for the fall semester, and we are doing so while following guidance from local, state, and federal health and government officials. We envision our fall semester as a traditional residential campus with students experiencing face-to-face instruction as well as some courses offered in alternative formats. This physical return to campus will necessitate additional precautions to protect students' health and safety, almost certainly to include the wearing of masks and the continued practice of social distancing. In addition, we are significantly enhancing the cleaning of public spaces, especially in our residence halls and dining centers where students congregate. Residence hall restrooms will be thoroughly cleaned multiple times per day, 7 days a week, and high-touch areas such as elevators and door handles will be cleaned even more frequently. We are reducing seating in our dining centers, constructing barriers between staff and students where necessary, providing fewer self-service options, and offering carry-out options at each dining venue on campus. Hand sanitizer will be widely accessible across the campus, furniture in public areas will be rearranged to encourage social distancing, and we will introduce a health safety campaign to students to reduce health risks. These are but a few examples of the many safeguards being developed in preparation for a healthy and productive fall on campus. Jeff Mavros, Director of Admissions, Illinois State University.
My name is Brandon. I'm 16. And my question is, with all the COVID-19 stuff happening, what things can be done differently in terms of keeping people safe?
The biggest thing for any contagious disease is one of keeping a safe distance and isolation. What we're going to see, and with most outbreaks, it's usually one, testing, isolation, and then follow up with contacts that infected person may have had. And taking precautions such as masks, hand washing, etc., until time when we have an effective vaccine or other measures to readily treat the virus.
My question is, what would happen if I get the coronavirus?
What happened if you get COVID-19 based on your age is probably nothing. In terms of general numbers, 80%, which means more than half of the people will not even have any symptoms. A smaller percentage, which is 15%, will have some symptoms, and very small percent, which is 5%, will have much more severe symptoms. So let me put it in simple numbers. For every 10 people that gets infected, around 8 of them will not even know that they have the disease. One of them or 2 of them might get a bit sick, and one of them runs the risk to have a very serious illness. So if you get it as a young person, probably you most likely will not even have any symptoms.
By now, everyone's heard about the curve. We've heard from all of our leaders at the national, state, and local level that we need to work to flatten the curve. But really, the question is, what is this curve that everyone keeps talking about? Well, it's actually called the epidemic curve, and it's a tool that epidemiologists have been using for decades to understand where a virus starts and how it spreads. The epidemic curve is really simple. It's just a graph. On the x-axis, we have the date of onset of symptoms. And on the y-axis, we have the number of cases who had symptom onset from the disease on that day. We build the graph over time, and it helps us to understand at what magnitude the virus is spreading and helps us pinpoint areas where we can do a better job of containment.
Hi, I'm Nico, and I'm 12. How is Six Flags gonna reopen under the social distancing rule?
Six Flags Great America is so excited to open for the 2020 season. We're working closely with officials to make sure that we can open safely with social distancing. Every guest will be asked to reserve a specific visit date with us, whether you have a single day ticket, a group ticket, a membership, or a season pass. You can reserve your date at sixflags.com/reserve, and the process only takes 5 minutes. Each guest will need to enter their online order number. That could be your ticket number or your season pass number, for example. Select the date that you'd like to visit and the approximate time that you wish to enter the park. We'll be staggering entrance times so that we can stagger the number of people who are entering at the front gate at once. We'll also ask that you watch a brief video that describes our new social distancing and sanitization procedures so we can keep you, our guests, and team members safe. We'll also ask that you acknowledge our new health policy, and mom and dad, you'll have to prepay for parking. New this year, you won't be able to pay at the tolls. We'll ask that you prepay, and then we'll scan that sheet of paper or payment as you come through.
What if someone in my house gets coronavirus? Considering I live with them, what am I supposed to do?
If someone in your household contracts coronavirus, the best thing is to really make sure that they're self-isolating and quarantining, and you're self-isolating and quarantining. And it may take up to 14 days to really make sure that you haven't been infected or developing any symptoms. And that certainly that individual, now that there's testing available, gets tested because coronavirus in some respects could mimic the flu.
I was just wondering what live theater is going to look like after COVID-19.
Well, the arts are more important than ever now, and will be after this challenge. We will need them to encourage, to heal, to help us understand, and also to help us redefine our post-COVID lives. Thank goodness as theater people, we are born with creativity and resilience and the ability to improvise. So right now, there's a lot of improvisation going on. We're learning how to use new media to keep an art form alive that depends on connection. Recently, I've been involved in several projects, one via the Kennedy Center in conjunction with Play at Home. And they commissioned playwrights from across the country to write short plays and made them available for people to perform in their homes. It's an example of how this period is helping us make unique connections and redefine relationships between audiences and theater artists that will be important post-COVID. Among others, Alabama Shakespeare paid playwrights and actors to create new video performances. Theirs is about home, and you can see it on their website. The ability to see videoed theater, which feels like theater, not film or TV, is an important part of the conversation now. Video, as an important theatrical tool, will continue to inform post-COVID theater. I also feel theater in the future will be more globally connected. Why? Because this week, I can reach out and see a fabulous production in Dallas, New York, even London. Can see great local productions at Fleetwood Jourdain Theater, the Goodman, or Victory Gardens without leaving my home. Do take advantage of this golden opportunity to see more theater now, to take online classes, to think about why theater is so important, and be ready to emerge into a post-COVID world more informed and better prepared as a theater artist and as an art lover. And most importantly, don't be afraid. Great theater makes us better and stronger now, and it will in the future.
Why are all the parks closed?
Okay, well, thanks for asking that. Parks are actually open. There are some restrictions we have right now based on the governor's orders. None of these restrictions are really park district chosen restrictions. They're all based on the governor's orders. So our parks are open, but certain things are closed. The biggest impact probably is for kids is the playgrounds are closed right now. So they'll be closed until we are informed that they can be opened. There are many other things you can do at the park. The walking trails are open. All the open space is open. The tennis courts are open. The pickleball courts are open now as well. We have disc golf at some of our parks that those are open as well. Basketball is closed as well as playgrounds until we receive the governor's orders that they can be opened. Along with that, although there is not a park, golf has now been allowed to be reopened as of May 1st. So our Bonnybrook Golf Course is open and our Greenshire Golf Course will open here at the end of the month. So those are available. There are restrictions in place at both of those courses as well per the governor's orders. And we have all our information on our website if you want to see that.
My name is Declan. I'm 5 years old, and my question is, how is COVID-19 killing people?
If you think of it as a family of the common cold viruses, it's just more aggressive. It goes in the airways, in the lungs, and causes a lot of inflammation or irritation in your lungs. That causes something that is a medical term. It's called a cytokine storm, which is a major inflammatory process. And that can cause difficulty breathing. And that difficulty breathing can be very dangerous for people. So it's a very complex medical condition. But basically, it gets into the lungs. It causes a lot of lung disease, and people can get difficulty breathing because of that.
How do people get COVID-19 if they're washing their hands a lot?
This virus is spread by primarily the respiratory route, hence the the mandate went out in public to wear a mask. And what we do know from time-lapse photography, that when somebody sneezes, that those droplets can actually be transmitted up to 6 feet or maybe a little longer. So it's really important, even though you're washing your hands, if somebody, has coughed, or if those droplets, which you may or may not be able to see are airborne, you could be breathing in those droplets.
It's really good to hear all of those questions. It's actually really great because we don't always need to have all the answers. We don't always need to know everything. And it's really exciting when we don't know everything, because that means that we get to learn and discover and understand our world better through the things that we don't know. So it's okay to say, I don't know something, and ask a question.
My name's Kaylin. I'm 15 years old. Can the coronavirus be transmitted through eating contaminated food?
Can someone get coronavirus by eating contaminated food? The FDA, which is the Federal Drug Administration, currently indicates that there is no evidence that packed food, might transmit the disease directly by eating it or transporting it. However, this question has several levels. The food can be a bit of a problem as a transport mechanism. We call it vector in medicine, which means the surface of the food could potentially carry the bacteria. So let me bring it to a simple process. If you have a company that is preparing a burger for you, and happens that the person that is preparing the burger has infection with COVID-19 and touches the food, if you eat that food, probably it's not going to happen. You're not going to be contaminated, because this is an airborne virus, which means you will not be getting infected through the GI tract, which is the gastrointestinal tract. However, the other side of the question is that what happens if you touch the burger, and then because the burger surface is contaminated, then you touch your face, then the answer changes a little bit. In that situation, there's a possibility that you might get contaminated because you touch your face or your airways with a contaminated hand. So the short answer from this question will be, can someone get contaminated by eating contaminated food? The answer is probably not, but by touching contaminated food will be something different. For that reason, we should be washing our hands every time, that before we eat and after we eat, and as frequent as possible.
Hi, I'm Nate. I'm 16, and as a high school athlete, I was wondering how the high school athletics will be affected, both in how we compete and if we have audiences to watch us compete.
Your question about how will high school athletics proceed this fall. We are being told that high school sports will continue this fall. At what stage? How will it be? No one can tell you at 100% certainty. We have to go by the governor's guidelines and get into stage 3. If we get to stage 4 and 5, things will change. Will we have sports this fall? Yes. What should you be doing? Get ready to be the best athlete that you ever have been. So what will happen this fall? We cannot tell you at 100%, but we believe in you and we'll have opportunities. So somebody got to be great. Go work at your sport.
Hi, my name is Destiny. I'm 16. My question is, what will happen with students that were scheduled to take the PSAT this year?
So in looking for the answer to this question, I looked at a couple places. The first one is I went directly to the College Board's website, because they're the ones who administer PSAT, ACT, SAT. And according to them, they recognize there could be no in-person taking of the PSAT this spring. They're looking at hopefully doing it in the fall, assuming that we're all back in school. If we're not, they're already working on a plan to have students take it via the internet from their home computers or wherever they're at. They already did this with the AP testing in the spring that a number of students were preparing for. So they've already got some of this under their belt, and they're going to get ready to go for it for PSAT and other tests. I then also looked at the Illinois State Board of Education website, and because of the governor's orders, they acknowledged that, hey, people can't be in person taking tests. So they've waived the requirement for those tests right now. They're again looking at the future, and hopefully in the fall we'll be able to do it, but they're going to respond each time the governor makes a new statement about what we have to do to respond to the pandemic. The other thing I looked at was knowing that a lot of people use results from PSAT to look at what colleges they're going to apply for, kind of their practice for the SAT and ACT, and for scholarships. There are a number of universities and colleges that were already looking to not require ACT and SAT to enter because of issues with equity. So you're going to want to contact those organizations directly. Go to their websites, call them by phone, look at the scholarship organizations, and see what their guidance is. Each one might be a little bit different, and check these things frequently because things are changing. Every time the governor makes a new order, they've all got to respond. So best of luck for it in the future, and hopefully fall will put you in a better place.
Will this pandemic be over soon?
The thing that we always like to say in public health is that we don't get to control the timeline of a pandemic. The virus gets to dictate when this pandemic will be over. But we can do everything that we can to help it along. We can keep washing our hands, and we can keep 6 feet of distance between us and other people, and we can wear face masks, and we can do everything within our power to help shorten this pandemic. But the short answer is we really don't know when the pandemic's going to be over, but we know that we can do a lot to help it.
What can we do to ensure something like this won't happen to this severity again?
What we can do to try and minimize the possibility of this happening again. And you never want to say never. It's what we do with other infectious diseases like the flu. You know, we're constantly monitoring for infections and then promptly take preventative and other measures if we see these things occurring.
I was wondering if there will ever be a cure or vaccination for coronavirus.
Will there ever be a cure or vaccination for the coronavirus? Well, breaking down the question, we're probably referring to the COVID-19 virus. Remember, the coronavirus is a family of viruses, and there is thousands probably viruses within that family. So if I'm going to answer that question, it's probably we'll never have a treatment or vaccination for the family of coronavirus because it's just one too many of them. But for the COVID-19, the answer is probably yes. We're working in a vaccine that we hope to have ready up and running within the next 6 to 8 months. And then after that, we'll try to expand for distribution and application. So it's going to take some time, but eventually we'll get a vaccine. That is for sure. There's a lot of companies right now working on the vaccine. And will there ever be a cure for it? And that is a difficult question to answer. Like many things, like many other conditions, sometimes we cannot find a medication that cures it, but we do find medications that they can control it. And right now we're working on 2 medications that they can help to control the infection itself. And so the best solution in this case will be a vaccine within a reasonable time frame.
My question is, why can't I see my grandma?
As much as we'd like to hug our grandparents, older aged individuals, and it depends on the age of your grandmother, but if they're over 65, and if they have any underlying health conditions such as heart or lung disease or diabetes, they could be at higher risk of developing severe infections. So it's for their protection, your protection, that there's social distancing, and you can always blow them a kiss. Blow them a kiss.
The next question. But I'm not going to say my next question.
My name is Wyatt, and I'm 9.